Hi, my name is Arden Compton. I'm really excited to share some ideas with you on helping you to feel better in life. A lot of people deal with fear and stress and anxiety and negative emotions in their life, and they don't know how to feel good, don't know how to feel happy. And it's one of the things I have loved the most in life is helping people to let go of negative emotions and to feel happy. And so I'm going to share some ideas with you on YouTube and on my blog, and I want to set a foundation. There's a foundational principle here that's really important, and when people can understand this, it is really, really empowering. And I want to empower you. So I want you to get a piece of paper. I've got some stuff on the board behind me here, but it's really important that you follow along and not just watch. So if you need to, pause the video and get a piece of paper. And I'm assuming now you have a piece of paper, and I want you to draw a line down the middle, and on the top left I want you to write the word light, and on the top right I want you to write the word dark. And I want you to think for a moment. Okay, think about how light feels. Okay, at times in your life when you have felt light, what are the kind of emotions that you have felt? And perhaps you've met somebody who just seemed to be full of light. What kind of emotions are they feeling when they're just radiating or beaming or just seem to be glowing? And maybe that's extreme, but you know, when people just seem to really, really be on top of things, what kind of emotions are they feeling? All right? And I made a list here, and I'd like you to put in your own words as well as some of the things I have here. This is not an exhaustive list, but it's to get across a principle for you here, okay? When people feel light, they tend to feel more peace in their life. Does that make sense, that those two would go together? Okay? They also tend to feel more love. Love for themselves, love for others. They tend to feel more love in their life when they feel light. Okay? They also tend to feel more hope. When a person is feeling light, they tend to feel more hope. Okay? Kindness. They're more likely to be kind. They tend to feel more confidence. Okay? Again, as a person is feeling light, they're more likely to feel confidence. They're more likely to feel patient. They're more likely to have feelings of self-worth, to feel good about themselves. They're also more likely to be forgiving of others. They're patient and forgiving, and they're also more likely to have gratitude in their life for the good things that are there. All right? They are more likely to have joy and to be happy in life. And isn't that what we all want? We want to be happy. And people are doing all kinds of stuff in life to try to be happy, but the bottom line is most people just want to be happy. Also, when a person is connected to light, they tend to feel more purpose in life. They feel that their life has meaning, that there's a reason for them and the things that are happening in their life. Does that make sense? Really ponder on that for a moment. Light tends to bring these kinds of emotions. Now let's go to the dark side for a minute, okay? And when a person is in a really dark space in their life, what do they tend to feel? What kind of emotions come up when a person feels really dark? And unfortunately, most of us are all too familiar with the dark side. Okay? But a person will tend to feel more fear when they're feeling dark within themselves. In fact, fear and darkness really go together. And fear is kind of the root of everything else I've put on here. All right? It's fear that leads us to feel so many other negative things. I think fear is one of the dominant emotions on our planet, unfortunately. And a lot of people live their life in fear. Some of the many faces of fear, the expressions of fear, is anxiety. Okay? People who are living in fear tend to have anxiety. They tend to feel more hate in life for themselves and for others, the world around them. They tend to feel hurt more often. Okay? They tend to have more self-doubt. On the light side was confidence, and the dark side, they tend to have more self-doubt. They tend to have more anger. Okay? They tend to have more self-pity. And again, it kind of goes with the self-doubt. Opposite of the self-worth is more self-pity and low self-esteem, that kind of idea. They tend to have more stress. Stress is very common. And a lot of people just live their lives in stress thinking that's normal, and there's really no other alternative, but there is. Okay? They tend to worry more and feel overwhelmed. Does that make sense? When a person is feeling dark, they're more likely to feel these kinds of emotions. They're also more likely to feel no purpose, purposeless, meaningless, like why bother, why try, what's the point of all this? And this is a pretty unhappy place to be. Okay? This isn't where we want to be, but this is where most people are probably most of the time. I don't mean to be judgmental, but I just know a lot of people are here with small visits to feeling good. They'll be there for a few minutes or for a day or a week, and then they slide back over to here. Somebody cuts them off in traffic or the weather's wrong, or who knows, people will forfeit happiness at the drop of a hat and go over to the dark side and be unhappy for any number of reasons. Okay? And I want to empower you with the knowledge that if you're feeling these emotions, okay, you can get over to here and feel good. Okay? You can feel happy again. You don't have to stay stuck in darkness. Now I want to add a couple of words here. With light, I'm going to write here next to this, and I want you to add this on your paper. Next to the word light, I want you to write "and truth." Because light and truth tend to go together. Okay? In many scriptural references, light and truth are used interchangeably. When we have light, we're able to see the truth of the matter. When I was a boy, I got lost in the woods with a friend. And we were camping, and we thought we were heading back to camp, and it got dark in the woods, and next thing you know, we weren't sure where we were. And there were some people, thankfully, that came and found us. They had flashlights, and when they brought the flashlights, and we saw where we were and where the trail was, where we should have been, we were like, holy cow, we had no idea we were so far off the trail. We thought we were pretty close to the trail, but we weren't. We were way off the trail, but since we didn't have light, we couldn't see the truth of where we were. Okay, that's really, really important. Okay, but if we're in darkness, then we have untruth. Or I wrote lies here, and maybe I should have just put untruth. I don't know. But we're certainly not connected to the truth when we are in darkness. And again, going back to this example as a boy, when we were lost in the woods, any decision that we made, we had no idea if it was moving us closer or further away from the trail. And in fact, we had made a number of decisions thinking we were moving closer to the right direction when in fact we were moving further. And when a person is over on this side in life, when they're feeling fear, stress, anxiety, overwhelm, self-doubt, hurt, unloved. I don't have unloved up there. You can write unloved on your paper, okay? That's a very common one. When people are feeling these kinds of things, it's hard to know where a person is at. It's hard to know where you are and where you need to go to get over here and to start feeling good again. But again, I want to empower you. There is a way to do this. There is a way to come over here and be here most of the time. Now, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm not going to tell you I never feel these emotions. Of course I do. It's part of life that we feel negative emotions. They come up. But when we're here, there's always a way to get over here. And there's a question that I want to ask you. And I want you to write it. I don't have it on a paper here, but I want you to write this on your paper. Whenever you're feeling dark, here's a question you can ask yourself. What do I need to do to connect to light and truth and feel good now? Okay, because there is always something you can do. It's not always self-evident. In fact, I'm going to have a whole other video just on that. But for now, I just want to put that question out there. And think about that, because there's always something you can do to come from here over to here. Okay? And again, there'll be another video where we're going to focus primarily on that. But I want to show you a little bit more about this principle. So if we're connected to light and truth, and we're feeling these emotions, all right, but let's take a look at the past, the present, and the future, because where we want to be in our life is present. And most people spend a huge amount of energy dealing with the past and the future rather than being fully present in the present. So just imagine something hurtful happened to you. Somebody said something that hurt your feelings, or somebody you loved broke up with you, or who knows? Any number of things happen to people. The way that people get hurt in life is almost infinite. There's a lot of ways we get hurt. So something hurtful happens to you. And now let's say years go by. But when you think of that memory, you still feel something from the dark side. Maybe you feel hurt. Maybe you feel unloved. Maybe you feel rejected. Maybe you feel hate. Maybe you feel anxiety. Maybe you feel no purpose. Okay? There can be an event from the past, and the memory could bring up any number of these emotions or some other emotion I haven't written down. Again, the list is not exhaustive here. If you think of something from the past, and that memory brings up something on the dark side, then you're not seeing the past in light and truth. You may be remembering the facts correctly, okay? You may have the facts down perfect, but you're not seeing the facts in light and truth if the memory brings up these types of emotions. Does that make sense? And I want to share some tools with you in future videos and blog posts on how to let go of the past, so that even though those things happened, and sometimes people do very hurtful things. I've chatted with people who have had horrific things happen in their past that I don't even want to mention. And the hurt was deeper than can be expressed in words. But there was a way to let go of that and to come over to here and have hope, despite the very devastating things that happened in the past. Okay? There is always hope. Let's say you're looking at what's on your plate right now. Present circumstances. Your present circumstances are not perfect. I don't know anything about your circumstances, but there's something wrong in your life. If there's not, you're the rare exception, because pretty much on this planet, everybody on this planet has got problems. Okay? If, as you look at the challenges that you have in your life presently, if that brings up fear, if that brings up anxiety, if that brings up overwhelm, if that brings up any of these emotions on the dark side, then you're not looking at your present circumstances in light and truth. Again, you may be looking at the facts correctly, but you're not looking at those facts in light and truth if you're feeling these emotions, no matter what your circumstances are. And I've been in some very significant, very challenging circumstances where it didn't look like there was any hope, but there's always a way to come over to here and to have hope, and to know that no matter what happens next, even if what happens next isn't good, you're going to be okay. All right? So if you look at your present circumstances in light and truth, you're going to feel light rather than dark. Now let's look to the future. Okay? The future is always in motion. The future is always uncertain. And we always have our own private forecast for the future, whether we know it or not. You know how there's a 5-day weather forecast, and we always have our own private forecast for the future, which is usually much longer than 5 days. We're afraid of what's going to happen, later this month or later in the year or next year, and what's going to happen if so-and-so wins the election, and what's going to happen if, if the economy does this or whatever. People have a lot of fear about the future because the fear is always uncertain. And there's no guarantees what's going to happen in the future. And it's almost guaranteed that bad things are going to happen in the future, okay? You're going to stub your toe on the road of life, or somebody's going to hurt you on the road of life. Something's going to happen that's going to be a negative experience for you. Okay, that happens in life. But we don't need to fear that. If our forecast for the future is in harmony with light and truth, then we will be at peace about the future. We will have hope about the future. We will have confidence about the future. We will have trust that we're going to be okay. Even though bad things are going to happen, there's going to be disappointments, but we can be at peace about the future. If our forecast for the future is not right, the future can cripple us. And we want to be fully present. Okay, there's a phrase I like to use. I want the way I feel now to be based on now. Not what did happen, not what might happen, but come to the present. And if a person can understand this principle and learn to stay focused in the present and be at peace in the present, then you can be here most of the time. And again, this is a foundational principle. I'm going to share some other videos more specifically on things you can do to get from here to here. But first of all, I just want to give a word of hope that it is possible to live here most of the time. No matter what your past was, no matter what your future is, and no matter what you think your future is going to be. Okay? You can live here most of the time, and this is where I hope to help you be. Life is a whole lot better. There's much more happiness and sense of purpose on the light side. So stay tuned for future videos. I'm going to do another one very shortly on this very subject, and then some other future ones with specific tools to help you get from the dark side to the light side very quickly. So, thank you.